Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unnamed Sports Show. First off, sorry we're a little bit behind schedule today. It definitely wasn't my fault, but we're getting started now. Crisp 7:05. I'm joined by my co-hosts Jerry and Jason. How we doing, fellas?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Doing good. Sorry, I forgot to change the NFL countdown in the background. So we're actually
22,
22.
22 Sundays until NFL football. All
Yep,
right, that's like so many
I
Sundays.
know.
So sad.
One by one, we're getting there though.
Well, before we get started, thanks for joining us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube as well as our social media at Unnamed Sports S. You can find us on X, Instagram, and TikTok. And make sure to like and leave us a review wherever you do listen to your podcast. Uh, but we're going to jump right in. It's still March Madness in April, and our tournament bracket standings are as follows. Jerry's in first. He wants to flex, I guess. ESPN fan 52643222646. Great work. You're in second place. Only a couple points behind Jerry there in first. Then Pauline, my girlfriend, she's in third place. And Kaylee there in fourth. Funny, Pauline was pointing out to me the other day. Jason, you were talking smack last week about how it wasn't the year to just pick your favorite team names, but apparently it is the year to pick your favorite team names because they're both kicking both of our butts.
Ray
Uh,
Charles, baby, I'm blind to it.
Sean there in fifth place, Matt Carpenter there in sixth. Me and Jason tied for seventh, although I have a higher point, much higher point total possibility. And then poor Houston. And then the Fantastic,
Yep.
and Jimbo's bracket. Ooh, Jimbo. That's
Me.
tough. Jimmy,
Jimmy,
forty-four
what
point
what
nine
happened,
percent.
brother?
What
That's
happened?
terrible. That's terrible.
I bet
But
his max points are about the same as mine, though. So
No, you're nope.
no, his
No.
max points are much higher than yours.
Jason, you don't
Oh,
have anybody left in the tournament, dog.
That's true. Yeah, you're maxed out at 610. That's tough. That's a tough day.
keep believing that everyone else is gonna fail. Yikes.
My
That's
NC State could win it all and screw
big
us all
yikes.
over.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any possible way that I win. I don't think there is.
No, because I think if
Because
Purdue
I can,
wins,
yeah, then Pauline will win.
yeah. I mean, I'm in the same boat with UConn. I have to have
Right,
UConn to win.
right.
Or I guess Purdue to not win. That would work too.
Yeah, yeah. But thanks to everyone that decided to participate and make a bracket. We really appreciate it. This has been really fun following along. But we're down to our final four teams. The last four. They do we have a graphic for the final four? Or, okay.
Yeah, just the bracket.
The bracket. Yeah, you can't really read any of it, but maybe people watching on their TVs can see. But I sure can't. But I do know that the final four teams, starting from top left, you have UConn, bottom left, Alabama. They'll be playing the second game on Saturday. And then on the upper right in the south portion, coming out of there is NC State. And coming out of the Midwest is Purdue. They are the first game on Saturday. I don't know the exact times. It's like 6 and 9,
Six
I
and
think, or
nine, I
something like
think.
that.
Yeah.
So, but those are going to be super exciting games. Jason, we've kind of done our predictions so far. Obviously, you're capped out. You got zero of the final four correct. That's okay. It happens to the best of us. Uh, so you're the perfect one to kind of, let's start fresh. All right. So what do you see happening
Fifth
here?
chance bracket.
Fifth chance, final four. Who wins? Who wins it all? Who you got?
Just rub it in my face harder. All right. I got Purdue. Who's stopping Zach Edey? No one. All right. Like The man's too big. You're throwing bodies at him. He'll foul out 3 people. I mean, what was it? Like 13 last game? 13
Yeah.
fouls called against him?
Mm,
Braun, not against him, but 13. Yeah, like on
Right.
him. Yeah,
On him,
yeah.
yeah.
or
That's
I don't know.
that's literally almost 3 people just out of the game because of that man. So like who's gonna stop him? I mean, UConn is playing good, but like I, I don't know how you're gonna stop Zach Edey. He just sits in the paint, bodies him. Maybe our boy from NC State, future offensive tackle, can throw a little body on him, but he's 6'9". That dude's 7'3", 7'4". Like you're not stopping that. So I'm going with Purdue.
Who wins between UConn and Alabama?
I think Alabama plays a dangerous game. Um, I mean they're literally run three, run three. So it's like if they can play well or shoot well, they can beat any team. The issue is when you're not hitting those shots, and I think UConn's a good enough team to defend that. So I'm gonna go UConn. UConn, I'm basic here, 1-1 UConn versus Purdue. Uh, I think Alabama's played very well. I don't know how long that can continue.
Mhm.
Playing that style of basketball, it's hard to always be able to make your shots, and when you're not making your shots, you have to have a different plan in place. And I don't think Alabama has anything else other than run, shoot. So I'm gonna go UConn, and then obviously Purdue because of Zach Edey. Purdue beats UConn.
I like it. Jace or Jerry, rather. I'm sure you have the same Final Four. Well, at least I'm sure you have UConn beating Alabama. But as far as NC State Purdue, do you see an upset happening there, or do you think Purdue still pulls it out? UConn Purdue national championship.
Yeah, I mean, just to echo what Jason said, nobody's stopping Zach Edey. DJ Burns has a knack for getting into foul trouble, and Zach Edey is the best in the NCAA at drawing fouls. So DJ Burns is going to get 2 quick ones like early in the first half, going to have to sit. And unfortunately, NC State just doesn't have the firepower that Purdue has either. And while they're on this, team of destiny magical run, I think unfortunately it does come to an end. As far as the championship game goes, you are correct. I do take UConn over Alabama. As far as the championship game goes, I'm kind of in a win-win situation if it's UConn versus Purdue because I have UConn in my bracket, but I've also have a future on Purdue to win. So as long as Iowa wins the women's national championship, so I parlayed them together. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do think I do hope we get UConn versus Purdue. I think it'll bode for a better matchup, a better game. And I think it'd be much more fun to watch because UConn is just on an absolute tear right now. They went on a 30-0 run in their Elite Eight game against Illinois. It was 23-23 with a couple minutes to go in the first half, and then they scored 5, took it into halftime 28-23, and then 25-0 out of the gates out of halftime. Just insane. You look up like 10 minutes later, and it's 53-23. Just ridiculous. But I agree with what Jason's saying. UConn kind of doesn't have a guy to stop Purdue either. They probably have the closest thing to stop Zach Edey and what's their big man's name? King something. Forget what his name is. But he's really grown into his own here throughout the tournament and has played a good brand of basketball. So I think it'll be an interesting Final Four. I think it's going to be a good one.
I can't wait to see it. Alabama is one of those teams that UConn plays like Illinois is a very consistent team, especially defensively, and can get to the rack. And for them to go on a 25-0, 30-0 really, but 25-0 in the second half specifically, run to just totally blow out that game. A team like Alabama is apt to fall to a 30-0 run.
Yeah.
A team that literally just goes pass, Chuck, pass, Chuck. Like if they're cold for a minute, UConn will run up 15, 20, 30 points like instantly. But on the flip side, Alabama is a team that can shoot themselves back into a game if they get hot. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What was it? Who were they playing when we were watching it? We were like, this is the worst college basketball I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like
Grand Canyon.
yeah,
Yeah.
Grand Canyon, and then we're literally just hucking up, 30 footers, bricking them, and turning the ball over. It was so embarrassing. But Alabama still won, and then Alabama found a way out of the West there. So, I mean, they're a good squad, and they can score. They're the number one scoring offense in all of college basketball. So,
Mm.
something that'll be a good one to watch. I think Purdue honestly just outmatches NC State across the board. NC State's got a great story, and DJ Burns is fun to watch. I don't even think they guard Edie with DJ Burns simply because he's 6'9" and gets into foul trouble. I think they guard him with that tall white dude that they have. That I think it's like Middleburg or Middle something. What's his name? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
We're not as good with the college names, guys. All right,
There's too
we've
many
never even heard of
players,
these
dude.
guys.
There's too many players.
We've never heard of these guys. Speaking of college, though, tonight NIT championship. We don't have a graphic for this, but Indiana State, the Sycamores, are playing against Seton Hall, 1 seed versus 1 seed for the NIT tournament.
Cream the dream, bro.
I heard him called
Cream
Milk
of-
Chamberlain the other day.
Yeah.
it's just honestly the best. So, yeah, it's something to tune into. I want to watch. Obviously, rooting for Indiana State, and that was a complete robbery that they weren't included in the tournament this year. Even I don't think they would have been a Final Four team, but they would have been freaking really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
watching a white dude stroke it, 7 foot white dude, 6'10" white dude stroke
And
it from
goggles,
three
bro.
all
Just
day. Yeah,
dishing dimes all over the place, man.
yeah.
He's awesome.
So pretty fantastic, and something to pay attention to. They only have 2 people graduating, so Indiana State's returning almost their entire roster next year. Plus, apparently, the Pat McAfee show, if they win the NIT championship, is going to cut them a massive NIL deal. So, not technically, that's quid pro quo, but they said we'll have a meeting if you guys win the NIT tournament. So
Nice.
It still won't be enough to compete with the big leagues.
no, but they'll be like the next year Cinderella story. I bet they go.
I wonder what the futures are
I'm
on
saying-
Indiana State next year to make the Final Four.
Those players are gone, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't care how much Pat's offered, unless it's like 10 million
you're saying
range.
their player? You're saying their players?
Their players are gone. Oh yeah.
I don't think so. If you watch the way that they play, they're not like super explosive or anything like that.
I
The only
know.
one- the white guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, is the. No one knows his real name.
Yeah,
We
what
just
is his
know him by
actual
all these fake names, but he's the only one I could. Him. They got a guard who's pretty good, but everyone else is like, they're a good player, but they're not. I don't think they're not like Kentucky's not going to come calling for him. Duke's not going to
Yeah.
come snatch these guys up.
Robbie Avila
Yes, the man, the myth, the legend.
himself.
What a rock star.
So we'll see. But that's a fun one to watch. Anyway, back to the Final Four. I think Purdue wins. I think UConn versus Purdue, and I think Zach Edey is unstoppable. Zach Edey, one of 2 players named to unanimous All-American this year. Does anyone know who the second one is?
I do
If
not.
I had to guess, it's probably the dude from who they just play.
Tennessee. Yes.
Tennessee.
Yes. Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yep. Dalton
Dalton
Connect.
Knecht.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. Dude, that dude went from being a nobody, transferred in to be a role player, to now a lottery pick in the
Yep.
NFL draft, and the 8th highest scoring player in college basketball
NBA
right now.
draft.
What'd I say?
You said NFL draft.
Oh, he's gonna be a lottery pick in the NFL draft, baby.
Hey, what position did he play? Tight end? Wide
Tight
receiver?
end, big wide receiver. No, he an NBA draft, and he's someone like 6'10", 6'9", shoots 40% from 3, can shoot from anywhere, good rebounder. So, and he's a cool story too.
he had a hell of a game. Like, he was
Yeah, he had 30-some points
yeah
on
was-
60% 3-point shooting
crazy.
It was the
and
rest of his
lost.
team that couldn't hit anything, man. They just
Yeah, their point guard went like 1 for 8. Like it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
So, any final thoughts on the national championship or the Final Four in the national championship for college basketball? By our next podcast, which again moves to Thursdays at 7, sometimes 7:05. Um, any final thoughts on college basketball?
Nope.
Men's college
Men's, I
basketball.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
men's
College
basketball.
Donovan Klingen was the center that I was thinking of for UConn. He's the guy who's been playing really well, who could match up to Zach Edey, but probably still no shot. I mean, I don't even think he's 7 foot, so we'll see what happens.
He's not. Yeah, if he's not 7 foot.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Unless he's like 6'11", 250.
And can jump out the
60?
gym
He can jump.
with
Yeah.
a 45-inch vertical.
Oh, just kidding. He's 7'2".
Oh, okay.
7'2", 280. Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna have a big man matchup in the national championship.
7'2",
So you
280
need-
versus 7'4", 300. If,
So you-
which, by the way, both these teams have to beat Alabama and NC State, which aren't here for no reason. So
Right.
Yeah. I just 30-0
that
run in the Elite Eight. Come on.
it's unbelievable. It really is. 30-0 is absurd against a very, very good Illinois team.
Yeah.
That honestly should have been a 1 or a 2 seed, but dropped because Terrence Shannon was suspended for part of the year. So that's when they lost their games. Like they're like a true top 10 team in college basketball, and they got UConn put a 30-0 run on them. It's insane. 30 points to 0 points.
I saw if you include like the last couple minutes of the first half and to halftime and then up until they scored again, it was like 55 minutes of real time that they didn't score in that game.
It's almost an hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's terrible.
Absurd.
An hour of not having a basket
Just
go
bricks.
in is
Just bricks.
That's absurd. That's a tough day. That's a tough day.
Yeah.
Shifting gears a little bit, still college basketball, so only a little shift of the gear. But we're going to talk a little bit about women's NCAA women's basketball, specifically about Caitlin Clark. Iowa takes down LSU. They now are in the Final Four. They face. Oh, I know this. I just
UConn.
looked at it the other day. They face UConn. That's right, and then NC State
AG buckets.
and South Carolina play is the other Final Four game. So, did you guys watch the LSU?
I caught
Yes.
I
Iowa
caught the
game?
last like quarter and a half. I had some other stuff going on, but I did
I
watch the
watched-
last quarter and a half.
I watched all of it, and let me tell you what.
By the way,
Or
real
Go
quick
ahead.
before you talk about the game, that had more viewers than last year's NBA Finals.
yeah,
That
13 mil.
13 million. That's like an Ohio State football game.
Yeah.
That's like
Absurd.
Ohio State, Penn State this year. Was Iowa, LSU women's college basketball, which is absurd. Absurd. Both Caitlin Clark and what's her
Angel
name?
Reese.
for LSU?
Angel Reese.
Thank you. Being able to pull in that many viewers. I mean, go ahead, Jerry. What are you gonna? Well, sorry, Jason. Want to talk about the game? Go ahead.
Go, Jason.
Go ahead first, Jason. What do you
Go
think
ahead,
of the game?
Carmel.
Okay. Let's start in the first quarter. First quarter, LSU came out swinging. They were actually able to play a little bit. They were playing good defense. I mean, they were double teaming when they needed to. But as soon as the third quarter hit, right after halftime, ball, step up past half court, cash money. It was over. It was over after then. It was completely over. And then also, Angel Reese getting her leg injured. I think it
Oh,
kind
she
of
got
messed up
injured?
the defense.
I
Yeah,
didn't, I didn't know that she got injured.
sorry,
In
her.
the
I
second
think it was her
half, though,
ankle.
right?
I thought it was pretty early in the third quarter. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
She still
Um,
she still played though, right?
Yeah,
She
she still
played
played.
through it.
She
Yeah.
walked out for like a minute and then came back in. Um,
Okay.
she you look at one. I mean, you look at one of these games and you're like, would it be better if she stayed out of the game because some of the rotations that they were doing. Right, she can't move. She's sitting right at the middle of the basket. If a screen is being set at the top of the 3-point line, like someone has to come up and help. So everybody wants to blame the point guard for LSU, but like, what is she gonna do? She's getting blocked. She has to run all the way around, try to watch the step back. Like, there's a lot you have to focus. And like, you look at the second quarter, not that many points were scored. Why? Because there was better defense on her. I mean, yes, she's the GOAT. She probably would have gotten out of the bad shots, but they were getting turnovers early in the first half. They were getting stops. It was a lot of good play on the defensive side for LSU in the first half before she had got hurt. That being said, even if she didn't get hurt, you're going to get tired running around trying to keep up with her. So they're going to score more points eventually. But you just saw Iowa dominate from that point on, in my opinion. And I think a lot of that had to do with just the movement on defense. But that being said, she's a go for a reason. And boy, was she shooting lights out. Splash, splash, just shot after shot. It was amazing to
She
watch.
put
41 points.
yeah, she put Haley Van Lith in the transfer portal, dog. Like
That's what I'm saying.
Did she
Like,
really?
I don't,
yeah, she just
Look,
entered the
She's
transfer portal
transferring.
today.
That's tough. And that's a good point you bring up, though, because, for those that don't watch a lot of basketball or understand basketball, so a ball screen is, the normally a big person, but it could be any of the guards. Will go up and set a screen, meaning they'll stop moving and use it like a wall on that defender for the offensive player to get around. And if your big man can't move, especially with somebody like Caitlin Clark, with they would just whoever is matched, Ranger Reese is matched up on, is going to set that ball screen. And now there's no hedge, there's no help off the ball screen where they're setting the wall. So Caitlin Clark is basically just getting her defender 2 steps behind her, and that's money every single time.
Yep.
She is not going to miss. Like, she
No.
is, as Jason articulately put, lights out. She is like literally lights out. So, and I had the pleasure of seeing Ohio State Iowa earlier this year with my mom, and that was incredible. And she was incredible that game. Ohio State won in overtime, but she had 40, 44, 43 that game. Like, she's truly incredible at
Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah, and
So-
she's leading a movement right now. I think women's Final Four prices, the ticket prices, are like double what the men's are right now. It's absolutely
Crazy.
insane.
Did you see there was a that 3-on-3 league? Did you guys see
Big
this?
three. Big three.
Is
Yeah.
it Big Three?
Yeah.
Big Three offered her like 13 mil.
Isn't that
or
Ice
something like that.
Cubes?
So Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Ice Cubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a team specifically. He offered her
Right.
5 mil to be on his team, and then I forget which rapper. I think it was Lil Duval.
Okay.
Maybe said I'll double that,
Okay.
and said I'll offer 10 million.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's
Yeah.
great. It sucks, I guess, for the WNBA because she's someone that would draw ticket sales for that. But for her, like, get your money.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, if
This-
that's what you wanna do.
This was another. I forget which reporter it was. It was. I think it was just actually a podcast old basketball player, but he was just saying like, yeah, you think it might suck for the NBA, the WNBA, but like think about it like this: she goes there for the big three, plays a year, gets that money, then she has that crowd, and then you're gonna watch her in the big three. You're probably gonna watch her if she decides to go to the WNBA afterwards. Bring
I
over
don't think
fans.
she would.
Why would you decide to then cut your paycheck
Yeah.
1/10? Not even.
First of all,
Mm.
she doesn't need a paycheck from any division. The amount of advertisement money that she gets, that doesn't matter. What matters to her probably the most is winning and being considered the best to ever do it at her sport, right? And what's the best way to do that? Probably play with the people that you're competing against. Now, no disrespect to the big three, but like you're the best big three player of all time.
I guess.
You
I
know?
mean,
It-
yes.
Yeah, she'll
Right.
think
I
that's great when
understand.
she's sitting on a beach house in Malibu.
Right.
You can
But
already
my
do that,
thought,
is what I'm saying. Like,
maybe, probably. She's State Farm and Subway. I knew that. Um, so I'm sure those are massive advertisement sponsor deals, which is great. But you're telling me like you get the opportunity to go make 10 mil a year to go play in this league? Like that's more than some NBA guys are making.
right? But
And
is it a year or is it that a one-time thing? Like, do we know? I don't.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
I
think
don't.
that was just a one-time deal to be like,
that
hey, come play
that
with
would
us. God, I'm
no, I
sorry.
was gonna say that would make no, you're fine. That would make a difference. I just think that uh I mean, I would love. It'd be great if she was able to draw viewership to the WNBA too. Like right now, the WNBA is not profitable. They actually lose money every year and are subsidized by the NBA. So if someone like Caitlin Clark could literally turn that around and make that a profitable business, at the same time though, like you will never make as much money in the WNBA as of right now as you would make immediately in that big three. So I just I wouldn't blame her either way. Is all I'm saying.
No, I agree. I just, in my opinion, I feel like that's not her mindset. To is the money, right? To
Mhm.
me, if assuming how she plays, how she works, it would be to compete against the best people in her field. And I don't think the big three is that for her. Maybe it is. I don't know. But
Well, I'm not even thinking necessarily the big three specifically, but like the next semi-pro team or the next, other league that offers her X amount of money or like a sponsorship deal to join like Barstool or something like that and just be a podcaster. Is she gonna turn down the money and go play basketball at the WNBA, or is she gonna take the money and just kind of ride her life out and do what's best for her? I don't think we know the answer to that yet.
I think she'll play no matter what. I think being a podcaster that she could still make and still. I mean, Patrick Beverly does podcasts all the time. Like she could
Right.
still play and do podcasts and make a ton from that too. So I think it's just for personally. I think it's more of a matter of if leagues like the big three are going to offer her money in the double digit millions, can the WNBA be enticing enough to pull someone that good there? That's all I'm saying.
And
So
honestly, who's to say the NBA doesn't give her a tryout to go somewhere? Like, I I don't think it's gonna happen, but I don't think it'd be the craziest thing in the world to see. The Pistons could use her. The Wizards could use her. That's all I'm saying.
well, if it's a business that is subsidized by the NBA, you don't think they would spend money, some of their own money, to try to get her to play
potentially,
for the
True.
WNBA?
It's true.
Like,
potentially, but the idea is that you would want the WNBA to then be self sufficient. So there's a cutoff point where paying her so much money, you're still going to end up not making money on the product. So it still has
Right.
to be like worth
right.
the money has to be worth the. But yeah, I think for sure the NBA would do an upfront investment on somebody as uh, who has as much draw as Caitlin Clark.
I agree. I mean, like the NFL was ready to do it for Kyler Murray. Like, I don't know why the NBA wouldn't do it for
Mhm.
her.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Hey, we spent a lot of time talking about women's basketball.
Yeah.
Look at
Hey,
us.
go us.
Go
Go
us.
us.
I will say if Iowa does beat UConn, they will likely be playing South Carolina, who has not lost a game all year and only lost one game last year to guess who? Iowa in the Final Four. So their opponent will be ready for revenge and also an extremely really like excellent team. So
Yeah.
uh
I think it's kind of crazy. We have two schools in UConn and NC State with both men's and women's team in the Final Four. I think that's pretty cool.
Never happened.
Yeah.
Really?
To have two teams. To have two teams with both men and women in the Final Four. Now, the only school to ever have both teams in the Final Four and both teams win a championship
It's
is
UConn, right?
Yep, UConn.
Mhm.
UConn's done it twice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like UConn's done it a couple times, but that makes sense. Two teams. Gotcha.
Yeah.
hmm And by the way, nobody thought NC State. Like I know we a touch back to men's basketball real quick. NC State, they were 3 seconds away from not being anything. Maybe not even being invited to the NIT tournament. They had a losing record.
They were down by
And-
3 to Virginia.
Yep.
I think it was Virginia, and hit
Yep,
a
and
prayer 3.
a bank
Yeah.
bank prayer 3 to send it to overtime, and then they won in overtime and have not lost since.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So pretty absurd. Any final thoughts on LSU, Iowa, women's basketball in general?
I wish I had bought tickets before the season started, because it's in Cleveland. The women's Final Four is
Yeah.
in Cleveland.
Oh,
this
is
year.
it really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's at the Cavs Stadium, but not for the price they're at right now. No way. But,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. They're double the price of the men's Final Four.
yeah. I think it's still crazy that Iowa is plus 300 odds to win the championship. By the way, I think
South
that is
Carolina's that good.
ridiculous. Yeah,
South Carolina is that good.
but
They are.
they don't have Caitlin Clark.
Unbelievable.
They don't
True.
have her.
Every other position they have almost as good. Not almost. Caitlin Clark is head and shoulders above most of the people in women's college basketball. But South Carolina is stacked across the
Yeah, I
board,
know.
and they're huge. They are huge. So it's basically going to be 3-point shots versus inside game, and who can outscore the other. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. All
That's-
right, let's shift gears. Oh, go ahead.
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say that's if Iowa gets past UConn, because UConn is no joke either.
I
They're
know.
very good.
Very good.
Page buckets.
AG Buckets.
I don't know who that is.
What's
Page
her?
buckers.
Buchers, Buckers.
She's
She's-
a player for UConn.
Mm-hmm. She's very
She's
good
a
too.
baller.
All I gotta say is the women's basketball team in the Olympics this year is just gonna be nasty.
They're
Yeah.
no game's gonna be within 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I know they were talking about bringing in college players. Have they officially reached out yet, or is that waiting until after the tournament? Because
Well,
I know
I mean,
before the
they'll be-
tournament,
They'll be pros by then, won't they?
not technically, they won't be. The Olympics will be before the
Yeah.
draft.
I mean, I think they let AD do that though, right? The year he
they-
was coming out.
They've let a lot of people do it. They let Shaq do it back in the day, and Christian Leitner, and they
I
did.
forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. They did. There's a bunch of college players, and normally they extend it if there's talent that's good enough. Everyone assumes Caitlin Clark is going to play for the Olympics, and there's going to be a couple of college players. Not
No,
just her.
the WNBA draft is literally next week.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
April 15th, or a week and a half from now. So they'll be pros
Oh, okay.
technically.
So I guess it won't matter. It won't matter. Although she can technically come back for one more year.
I'll do it.
She said she's leaving.
I know.
I think.
She said she's leaving. I'm just saying she could make that point record untouchable if she really, really wanted to.
It's already untouchable.
Yeah, if it sat for Pete Maravich for 60 years,
hmm
I think it might sit for a little bit longer. But anyway, that wraps up NCAA basketball, men and women's. We're going to shift gears here a little bit back to the NFL, the old bread and butter, what we tend to talk about a lot. I don't know if there's a card for this. Oh, okay, NFL offseason moves. The big one, the elephant in the room. Stephon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans for a bag of Skittles. I mean, it's pretty wild. Literally, the Texans get a top 5, 10,
I'd say
10
top
for
10.
sure.
Top 10.
top 8, I would say, wide receiver in the NFL for a second round pick, and you go, okay, decent trade value. Oh, wait, actually, it's next year's second round pick. So it's not even this year. And another fifth and sixth is coming to the Texans. So a fifth and sixth round pick. So 2 picks and a player for a second round pick next year. Absurd, totally fleeced. Like, why are the Browns not? Why do we not have all 3 of us? Why do none of our teams have Stephon Diggs right now?
You guys
It's
got
just
Amari Cooper for less than a bag of Skittles, so I don't want to hear it.
fair enough. But Amari Cooper was never Stephon Diggs.
No, you're right. He wasn't, but he's turned out to be pretty damn good
Oh,
for you guys. So
trust me, I'm not
yeah,
preaching to the choir here. I love that we have Amari Cooper. He's amazing, but you have someone like Stephon Diggs, who's a
Eagleberg.
yeah, exactly, a top player, and the Texans get him for a second, and they get a fifth and sixth round pick. That just doesn't make sense. Other than
It doesn't
the
make
drama.
sense.
it doesn't
The
make
the
any sense.
the
I'm
the
never gonna
sense.
understand NFL trade value.
What makes
but
it,
Go ahead, Jason.
what makes it worse is the Bills did it with 30 million dead cap space added on to it. I don't understand the move at all. Actually, I do understand the move. The move is done because of either two reasons, I guess. The Bills are either going to tank or just see what Josh Allen can carry them to. Or 2, he was that much of a locker room problem that you had to get him out. And it's been rumored that he wants to play with his brother, so maybe that's has a lot to do with it. I think it does because the Texans,
Yeah, they voided his last 2 years.
yeah, voided his contract. So after this year, he's a free agent. So like maybe it added all up, and it was just what the best that they could get. Maybe the Texans were the only ones to talk about it because no one else really thought he was available. But that being said, they made the move. We get Gabe Davis. I don't know if you guys seen the meme where it's like, yeah, they got KD, but we got John, what's his name, the power forward for the Timberwolves. But it's Anthony Edwards. Like, yeah, they got KD, we got our power forward, and I'm like, yeah, well, they got Stephon Diggs, but we got Gabe Davis. So. But yeah, no, it's sad to see. Sad to see the Texans going all in because it's something that I would like to see the Jags do. I mean, we're kind of in the same situation. You got a really good quarterback, you got a good running back, you got a good team around, a nucleus around. We just maybe need a couple more things and we can compete with the Chiefs. And maybe I mean we're still in a situation where we can compete with the Chiefs. It's just you put yourself in that type of situation where your number 1 wide receiver and your number 2 wide receiver and your number 3 wide receiver all could be number 1s for different teams. You're doing yourself some good justice out there, and it's tough to see the Texans do it because they're so freaking close to home.
What really stings me is that the Browns really have set the Texans up. Like
Oh yeah,
in a lot of
Ah!
ways,
yeah.
I didn't
the
even think about
Browns are the reason. Lovey Smith and the
that. Lovey
Browns
Smith.
are the
Lovey
reason
Smith.
Yeah.
that Lovey
Lovey
Smith and the
Smith.
Browns are the reason that the Texans are now going to win 14 freaking games this year because we gave them 3 first-round draft picks as well as allowed them to get a rookie deal quarterback. They have 1 bad tank season where Lovey Smith gets a last-second touchdown to give them the number 2 pick so they don't make the mistake of drafting Bryce Young first. And now they have all this draft capital. They get Will Anderson because of our pick in that first round that they're able to trade. Then they go out because of all this free cap space from not having Deshaun Watson on their team. They now can go out and sign all these players. Actually, the Bills are still paying for Stephon Diggs, so that one's moot. But you basically, the Browns have set the Texans up to be perennial AFC contenders, and we're going to have to play them in the playoffs and get shellacked just like we did this year, every freaking year by CJ Stroud throwing dimes to Michigan alum Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. That just fires me up.
Salt in the wound.
Yeah, you only have to play him once.
Yeah, but
Shut it.
fair enough. Fair enough. We only have to play him once, but
Thanks, Andrew
anyway,
Barry.
yeah. Thanks. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, you better be a top 5 quarterback this year, because otherwise, it's been a bust. It's already pretty much a bust. But we've been able to push back everyone's contract. Like, you can just keep renegotiating the deal, and we get our first round pick next year. Thank God, finally. But if he doesn't pan out this year, like, we're screwed.
Yeah.
We are totally screwed until 2027, 2026, 2027, somewhere in there. We can pull him off with this like $30 million cap hit. But like, it's what?
Sorry, I just saw the craziest. Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I was just gonna say it'll go down as one of the worst trades in history, and it's crazy to say that coming off an 11-win season where he didn't have much to do with that 11-win season, but it's like we are primed to make a deep, deep run and potentially make it to the Super Bowl if he were to play even half the caliber of quarterback we expect him to be as now 60 because of the renegotiating $62 million a year quarterback. $62 million. That's what we're paying him this year. $62 million. Okay, this dude better be throwing 40 touchdowns to 8 interceptions and 5,000 yards. Otherwise, I'm gonna become a Texans fan. Not really.
I swear to God. I swear to God. I'm joining you.
All right.
So is Jason or Jason. So is Jerry. If JJ McCarthy goes to the Broncos,
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
on the
no.
CJ Stroud bandwagon, baby.
I'm just
waiting to be Texans fans.
Let's just make this a
I'm-
Texans podcast, dog.
Yeah, honestly. Horns up, baby.
been a fan my whole life. No, I'm just waiting for us to go to London. Once we go to London, it's like on to the next one.
Come
Hopefully.
over to the Brownies. We need more people.
Like I said when I was 5 years old, I'm not yelling at the TV screen my whole life, even though I've been screaming at the TV screen my whole life.
Yeah,
Oh,
is your
man.
situation any better, Jason?
They've
I plead the fifth.
they've been to an AFC championship in our lifetime.
True.
True.
And we decided not to resign any of our young players, and yeah, and then we got Trent Baalke, misses every draft pick, and then does
The
great in free
GOAT.
agency, and then cuts everyone, and then I'm tired of this. All right, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm losing my mind. I'm back to the last year. I didn't watch the draft as much as I normally did. I'm back to that. Like we all end up. It's just, it's a sad life. All right, but it's a life we live in. Go Jags.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to the draft in the last couple of years because we don't have, a first round draft pick.
Same, brother.
Um, to continue, any other big NFL offseason moves? I don't think there's been any like major blockbuster
No.
or any big signings that I remember. So we're going to continue a segment we started a couple weeks ago. We didn't get to it last week, I don't believe, but we're now going to be doing continuing to work off-season moves for different teams in all of the divisions. We're now going to double up and do 2 divisions each week. Kind of speed through it a little bit faster. I know we took a long time the last couple times. We're going to speed through it here, but focusing on different moves that you can make. We were doing pick, trade, and cut. Now we're kind of just doing different moves you can make, whether that's a couple different picks, a couple signings, whatever, for all of the NFL teams. And then the last week will be the week before. Correct me if I'm wrong. The week before,
The day of the draft, actually.
the day of the
Oh,
NFL
that's
draft.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll finish up the day of the draft, and I haven't talked to any of these guys about this, but maybe we could do like a draft live stream like where we're going through. I mean,
Say less.
I-
Say less.
I know
Say
we
less.
have,
So we can't.
Say less.
We won't be able to stream the draft, obviously, like on screen, but we
Yeah.
can, stream us watching it.
react to
Yeah.
the draft, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll definitely
Unless we get
talk more about
broadcasting
that.
rights from the NFL, I'll work on that.
Yeah, get to work. We'll see. But that would be really fun. We haven't talked about any of that yet. Maybe we'll start that. What time's the draft start? 8, 7, 8?
8,
7.
8, I believe.
I thought it was. Oh, you're right. It's 8 on
That's
Thursday.
perfect.
I think 7 on Friday.
That's perfect. We'll start. I mean, we're figuring this out right here, guys. So we appreciate you watching. Maybe we do our regular show from 7 to 8, and then 8 on is the live streaming our reaction to the draft.
If you have any,
So-
if you have any suggestions for stuff for us to do, let us know in the chat, please.
Yes.
We'll,
Yes. Thank you.
We'll look at
Way
them.
to utilize the chat, Jerry. I appreciate it. Also, how come when you chat during the live version of our show, it doesn't come up as a YouTube comment?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I wish it would, because sometimes like during the live stream I miss stuff and I don't want to like never address that. I'd love to go back and read through it, and I just wish there was a way to keep record of that. Something else we'll have to figure out. But anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. We're gonna do the AFC North this week and the NFC North this week. And again, just like the last couple of weeks, we did one team together, and then each of us took one of the other teams in the division for both of them. So for both divisions, we took the division winner. We'll start with the AFC North. We did the Ravens together. So Jerry, why don't you lead us off with who are we picking in this draft?
All right, so the Ravens got a late first round pick. Obviously, no OBJ coming back this year, so we're gonna take a wide receiver from Texas, Adonai Mitchell, do as an absolute freak in the college football playoff in their game against Washington. I mean, the Ravens need some help at wide receiver. Yes, Zay Flowers is going to be a superstar in this league. He showed it this year. He had some faults in the playoffs, so kind of rookie mistakes, but he will be able to bounce back, and he needs another guy to kind of take that pressure off of him so he's not getting double teamed, triple teamed in the secondary. So give us Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver from Texas.
I love it. We're going to do 2 signings. The first signing is going to be of edge rusher, outside linebacker, former Steeler Bud Dupree. So, hey, they take Patrick Queen. We take Bud Dupree. Now, the Bud Dupree just came from the Titans, so it's not like he was just with the Steelers. But a pretty decent edge rusher. I believe he's right around the age of 30.
I want to
just
say he's
over
30.
30, 31,
He is
somewhere in there.
31. Yeah, he's 31.
Okay. So 31, so he's an aging edge rusher, but that doesn't mean that he can't go and make a difference. You saw what Jadeveon Clowney was able to do this year for the Ravens. So this is somebody that could definitely fill that spot and be a good piece of that pass rushing unit up front for the Ravens.
Speaking of Peace, we're going to switch over to our second pick, who is Andreas Pete. He is an offensive tackle from the New Orleans Saints. He's been a solid tackle for them for a while now. He was at the Stanford University, I want to say a couple years after Andrew Luck, maybe? I don't know. But that being said, solid offensive tackle. That boosts up some of the issue with them releasing Orlando Brown, right? Orlando Brown is who I'm thinking of. But yeah, Trent
Mhm.
Brown, thank you.
What Jerry said.
Is it Trent Brown or is it Orlando Brown?
Who's-
I'm pretty sure it's Orlando.
Orlando Brown plays for the
They both play for the Bengals.
Bengals, yeah.
Right,
I just can't remember
Who-
which one was already there.
pretty sure. It was.
Let me-
Orlando
I'll check.
Orlando Brown, wasn't it?
Orlando
I
Brown
don't
played for the Ravens.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
You're
You're
right.
right.
My
You're
bad,
right.
my
You're
bad.
right.
My
Um,
bad.
Put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on my name.
Jeez, Jerry.
Put some respect on my name.
Jeez, Jerry. Okay, well that wraps up the Ravens. Let's move over to Jerry and the Bengals. Take it away, Jerry.
All right. Bengals, obviously superstar quarterback, first overall pick in Joe Burrow. However, he's been hurt a couple times. They need some depth on the offensive line. They need to protect that man. He's taking all your cap space. Protect the man. He's going to be your franchise guy. We're going to take Troy Fatano. I don't know. How do you pronounce that, guys? Help me
Yeah,
out.
but
I think you nailed it.
I think-
Fatanu.
Fatano.
Offensive lineman from Washington. He's going to provide a little bit of depth and compete with Trent Brown for that tackle spot. I mean, you just can't. If you're going to make a run to get back to the Super Bowl, you can't have Joe Burrow getting hurt every single year. It's just not going to work out. Got to protect the man, give him a little bit of depth if somebody on the offensive line does go down. And plus, Troy Fautau now, however you say his name, you will get a young guy at a good cost. He could pan out. I mean, Trent Brown and Orlando Brown are not going to be around forever. So if he pans out, get him at a low cost. It'll be good for the future. For our trade, we went with a pick trade sign here. So our trade, this is going to parlay later in the show. But we're giving up T. Higgins and whatever the hell the Vikings want to get Justin Jefferson. Bring him home. Get the trio back together. Jamar Chase, Joey Burrow, and Jay Jets. We saw what they did at LSU in that championship game. They absolutely torched Clemson. Imagine what they're going to do in the NFL together. And then in free agency, unfortunately, the Bengals lost to Wouzier, so we got to bring in some help at secondary. So we're going to sign Xavier Howard. Should be able to get him at a decent price. Maybe, I mean, he's still on the market after all this time, so he's probably going to take a lower contract to be able to compete in a competitive division and hopefully get back to the playoffs. But the Bengals are going to need some help in the secondary, so we're going to take Xavier Howard.
I like it. That's quite the blockbuster to get Justin Jefferson to play next to Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs for a second round pick. Hold my beer. Give me Jay Jets for T. Higgins and a bunch of stuff. Jason will parlay on what that is later, but we'll get
For now,
speaking of Jason,
we have the Steelers, and the Steelers cut Mason Cole, their center. Not that great of a player, anyways. We're not going to talk about that too much, but they draft Jackson Power Johnson, JPJ, the center out of Oregon, and in my opinion, JPJ is the best offensive lineman prospect in the NFL draft right now. I think he's a day one starter. We drafted later than a bunch of the guys in the first 15 picks, but he'll end up being probably the longest starter out of these guys. For the Steelers, what weapons do they have? They have one receiver in Pickens, two receiver. They picked up Van Jefferson, the third receiver for Rams, and they have Quez Watkins, who was the fourth best receiver for the Eagles last year. So we are desperate, and desperate times comes for desperate measures. We got a JPJ, now we go for OBJ, and we sign Odell Beckham Jr. We have two signings for the Steelers. The Steelers need to improve their offensive line a lot. That being said, Mekhi Becton is the pick we went with. Very athletic, was one of the had one of the best combines for offensive linemen of all time, but hasn't performed, whether that's due to injuries or knowledge of the offensive line position. I think with the Steelers, you're going to get better coaching and be able to get his best attributes out on the field. They like to run more than they pass, and you also have two quarterbacks that are very good at running around. So you're going to want some guys that can side to side move. So we're going to go with Mekhi Becton.
I like it in the sense that I hate it because it's the Steelers, but I think all of those decisions would be good and help them move forward this year. And that leads us to the best team in the AFC North. We saved the best for last. Obviously, I'm going to give the sort of offseason moves for the Cleveland Browns first coming because, as I've already mentioned on this show, the Browns do not have a first-round draft pick, but we do have a second-round draft pick. And right now, it's like, what do you look at? Okay, so defensively, we were one of the top defenses in the NFL last year, but we relied on a lot of people that are a lot of older veterans on the interior and really all across, but mainly the interior of our defensive line. So that is, I think, is the area. While we did re-sign Mo Hurst, while we did re-sign Shelby Harris, we still need a little bit more youth and ability up front. And who better to pick than a former Ohio State Buckeye, Michael Hall Jr. in the second round, a athletic pick, a guy that can go and definitely be a rotational player off the bat, and somebody that Schwartz can help mold and develop. This is definitely someone that you know we can move him around across the line on passing plays. Like, this is definitely somebody that can fit. And then you're working with a lot of other really strong, really good defensive veterans up front. So Michael Hall Jr. for the first pick. Second decision, we decided big blockbuster trade. This isn't like a Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins trade, but if you're a Browns fan, you understand that our offensive line has been one of the strongest points of our team for the last several years, except our left tackle, Jedrick Wills. We got this guy, the 11th pick in the draft out of Alabama. He's supposed to be a dog, and he is terrible. He is terrible. He had a 50 rating on PFF this last year and spent half the season injured. His backup, who we got off the street, was better than he was. I don't want him in here anymore. So we trade somewhat injury prone but Pro Bowl caliber Jack Conklin and a second round next year draft pick. So we're still getting Michael Hall this year, next year second round draft pick for left tackle for the Las Vegas Raiders, Colton Miller. A very, very solid left tackle, somebody that's a top 5 to 10 player in the NFL. He's 28. He's in the middle of his prime, someone that could fit right into our offensive line. And while we don't have Bill Callahan anymore as the greatest O-line coach in the NFL, we still have a lot of depth, a lot of great players there, so he'd fit right in. And the last signing, we need more weapons. Amari Cooper's been great. We did get Jerry Jeudy, thanks Jerry, and we have a couple of younger talent in Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman, but a nice, crafty lunch pail, first guy in, last guy out, veteran, classic route runner.
Quicker than fast. Quicker than fast.
Sneaky athletic Hunter Renfrow signing. Just 2 years ago, he was a Pro Bowler with over 1,000 yards. Last year, he definitely fell off a lot with Jacoby Myers coming in, kind of taking that number 2 role. I think a place like Cleveland would be great to put him back in the slot and be a solid contributor. So that's the Browns. Now let's move over to the NFC North. We're back together again for the division winner, the Detroit Lions. Jerry, who are we picking in the draft?
We're going to pick up cherry, grape, whatever flavor you want. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid McKinstry. Cool name, but he's also a dog. Beast in the secondary. We need some help after losing C.J. Gardner-Johnson back to the Eagles. The offense was obviously not the problem in Detroit last year. They had a knack for getting torched on defense. So we're going to pick up Kool-Aid McKinstry, give us a little bit of youth, a little bit of depth on the back end. And when you're competing in a division that's got Justin Jefferson and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, you're going to need some help in the secondary. So we're picking up Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback, Alabama.
For our trade, we are going to move a 2025 fourth round pick and a 2020 this year 6th round pick, next year 4th round pick for linebacker Quincy Williams from the Jets. Quincy Williams is a great linebacker. He's 27 years old right now. I believe he just got a contract extension last year. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I'll have to. I'm pretty sure it was last year. So it's a good way for the Jets to offload a little bit of their cap, as well as get ability to bring in some younger talent with the 4th and 6th round pick. And you add a solid defensive player to a Detroit team that did not struggle much for offense, but definitely needed some better defensive play, even at especially at that linebacker position. They have their now second-year linebacker out of Iowa, Jack Campbell. Is that right? Jack Campbell, who was making really good strides last year. He's going to step up. He's going to be a really good player. I think Quincy Williams added to that room is definitely going to be helpful. And the last but not least, Jason, what do we got?
We are going to sign safety Eddie Jackson from the Bears. Sorry, he played for the Bears last year, got cut. Eddie Jackson has been one of the most prolific turnover machines on the defensive side of the ball. He has, I believe, I want to say 4 pick sixes in his last 5 years. So losing CJ Johnson, you add Eddie Jackson. He might not be playing to his prime level, but even if you get a step down, Eddie Jackson, it's still better than what they have right now. And we are signing Eddie Jackson. And also, this man said ex-Jet Quincy Williams. Don't let him forget. Quincy Williams was a Jacksonville Jaguar at one
That's
point.
true. That's true. That's true. But he's currently a Jet, so
Yeah, yeah. Because we cut him from our practice squad. What are we doing? I'm good.
yeah.
I'm
You
good.
sound good.
Yeah.
You sound good. You
No,
sound good.
there's always a trace of linearity. If you look through the NFL, there's a Jaguar on every team. All right.
Yeah, you're just the
Doing
NFL's
well.
farm team. It's fine.
Doing well.
Yes, doing quite well.
Doing
Always
very
better.
well.
Always better when they left. All right.
Yeah.
So
Or really good when they left, but still left. So
yeah, we could have cut that part quiet, but yeah. Anyways,
yeah,
Love it.
it's tough. It's all right. Right now we've had to get uh Jordan Hicks from Minnesota for the Browns, who is a really good player, but we could have had the Alabama linebacker that now is with the Patriots, whose name I'm not remembering, but
Mac Wilson.
Mac Wilson, who was, everyone was like, oh, this guy's going to be the next thing. He was absolutely awful in Cleveland, goes 1 year in the Patriots system, and all of a sudden is amazing. You wonder maybe if Schwartz would have had him to work with, he could have done the same thing in Cleveland. He's there. I get what you're feeling, although not even close to the same extent. We're going to move on to the other teams of the NFC North. Jerry, the Bears, what do you got? You have a lot of options here.
Yeah, we do. So obviously the Bears have the 1st and the 9th pick in the draft. I toyed with trading out of the 9th pick. I didn't like it though. I think there's a lot of good options at the 9th spot for this team. So the first pick, obviously, Caleb Williams, USC quarterback. He's going to be supposed to be a generational talent. If you trade Justin Fields, that's where they're going. It's a no-brainer. However, with the 9th pick, we're going with Jared Verse, edge rusher from Florida State. They need another guy on the other side of Montez Sweat, and this dude is an absolute freak of nature. Absolute freak of nature. Ran a 4.5 at the combine. His NFL comparison has been Lamar Woodley. So, I mean, just an absolute beast. And Florida State's undefeated record last year. Yes, their offense, had something to do with it, but it was largely in part to their defense, except for the game against Georgia. We won't talk about the game against Georgia, but the undefeated record. Jared Verse had a huge part in that, so we're going to take Jared Verse from Florida State. We are signing offensive lineman Laken Tomlinson. He's still on the board. Kind of surprising, honestly. He provides some good experience. A little, they need a veteran on that offensive line. They also need some depth if they're gonna keep Caleb Williams healthy. They do have really good tackles in Darnell Wright, and their other tackle whose name is escaping me right now. I don't know. I'll think of it later. But we're going with the interior offensive lineman. Kind of beefing it up and give some interior. Thank you, Tevin Jenkins. Maybe DeAndre Swift will be able to run the ball inside, kind of take the pressure off Caleb Williams a little bit. And then obviously the Bears trade for Keenan Allen, and one of the biggest trades in the offseason. They traded for DJ Moore last year. So we're going to pick up a third receiver from a team that I just talked about, Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to let Tyler Boyd go to the Chicago Bears. He's going to be their third option. More than likely, he's going to want to go somewhere where he can be probably a number 2 or even a number 1 option. But a team like Chicago is poised to make some deep runs in the coming years. Probably not this year, but give them like a year or two, they could be in a spot to make a couple of deep runs. So Tyler Boyd wants to be on a winning team. They're going to sign Tyler Boyd for a decent contract. I think they could get him at a pretty good price. So yeah, that's what the Chicago Bears are doing in this offseason.
Lots of moves. Chicago, if Caleb Williams pans out, definitely a contender in the NFC North and a pretty open NFC North, to be completely honest. The next team in the NFC North, which has apparently a blockbuster trade we're about to learn about.
Go,
Jason Scott,
go.
new man on the Minnesota Vikings. Jason, take it away.
All right, let's break down the original trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. Jerry said we are offering just T. Higgins and whatever they want, so we're coming for their head. All right, we give Justin Jefferson for T. Higgins a 2025 first round pick and a fourth round pick out of 24. Stephon Diggs only got a second. There's no way Justin Jefferson doesn't get a first. So we give them. Sorry, we get the first, and we get T. Higgins, who also I think by himself is a number one receiver. I just think you don't call him a number one because he was beside Jamar Chase. I still believe he's a top 32 wide receiver in this league. Then, not only did we trade Justin Jefferson, we're going for the full rebuild, and we are trading down our first round pick at number 11. They said, you're going for a rebuild and you're trading down? What? That is because Michael Penix Jr. is the rated sixth best quarterback in the draft. Huh?
Huh?
Huh? You're telling me Michael Penix is not better than JJ McCa? Can't even say his name. The guy up north, the team up north's quarterback? No. He might be, at minimum, Michael Penix is the fourth best quarterback, but he's not projected to go in the first round. So we're trading down in the first round. We're still going to make sure we can get him. We trade pick 11 to the Cowboys for pick 24. The Cowboys need an offensive tackle. They go get their tackle at pick 11, and we go get our quarterback at pick 24 and add a pick 56 on top of that. The hell? That is a extra fourth round pick and an extra second round pick for this draft next year. We also have an extra first round pick to help with the rebuild. Maybe we trade back into the first round with that next year first round pick, and we go get another wide receiver to complement T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, and whoever it might be.
I like
And
it.
that is the Vikings. On to the Cheeseheads.
Cheeseheads who made it to the playoffs last year based off of Jordan Love, who I guess is now the next Aaron Rodgers. It's pretty ridiculous that they keep picking up these amazing quarterbacks, but similar to the Lions in that the Packers' offense is fantastic. It was fantastic this year, but their defense left a lot to be desired. They have the 25th overall pick. I just talked about the defense. That'll be the second pick and the signing. First pick, they do need to shore up their offensive line. David Bakhtiari is completely injury prone, and I don't think has he re-signed anywhere.
Nope.
I know that they
He's
released him,
still a free agent.
so he's a free agent. He is when he plays, he's a top 3 offensive tackle, but he's literally been injured every year for the last 3 years. So you never know what's going to happen with him. But so for that 25th overall pick, you take. I have the Packers taking Amarius Mims, a tackle out of Georgia. Definitely a prospect guy. He only played 7 games this last year at right tackle, but has the athleticism to play either way and a really high ceiling. Guy is 6'8", 340 pounds,
Oh my
and
God.
ran a 5.040. Like
DJ Burns has got nothing on him.
yeah, no, like this dude is freaking huge. athletic, has a good punch, definitely sits down into his stance, does rarely gets beat, but definitely is more of that raw on the rawer side, simply due to any. He does have a lot of talent, and he played in the SEC, so it's not like this is a Division II or like a one AA guy that's massive. Like he played in the SEC. He went up against now NFL players in practice all the time. So this is a guy that definitely can make a difference. Maybe not quite the day one starter, but halfway through the year starter. Or maybe you have to start him because you
You
don't
ain't got
have
nobody else.
anybody else. Yeah. So 25th pick on Marius Mims. The 41st pick, they have the 9th pick of the second round from the Jets. I have them taking, and I didn't want to cut or trade anybody. The Packers have already kind of lost a good number of people and need to really be pulling more people in. So for the 41st pick, we have Ennis Rakestraw. He's a cornerback out of Missouri. He is a long, good prospect, very, good on ball skills, good zone coverage, but he's not quite the physical specimen that maybe you would want. So that's why he's kind of more of a second round pick, but definitely a great value pick for that 41st pick to pair with Jair Alexander, who they are saying we are not trading or, you know, he's going to be play for the Packers. So they definitely need to continue shoring up that secondary, though. So their signing will be former Broncos safety Justin Simmons, another strong pick. Somehow still a free agent. I'm not sure how he's not.
I
How is he
don't
not
get it.
picked up already?
I don't know.
Because he resets the market when he signs somewhere, probably. Would be
That
my
makes
guess.
that makes sense because that was a surprising cut from the Broncos, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's 100% because they couldn't.
Yeah, yeah.
They're paying
Oh,
someone else 40 mil to play for a different team.
yeah. At least it's a quarterback. The Bills are paying like 30 mil for a wide receiver to pay for another team. So they're paying Baker Mayfield level contract for him to go play in Houston. So anyway, um, Justin Simmons comes. I think he makes a big difference. I think you add a couple of good outside edge pieces, not edge as far as edge rusher, but like secondary, I should say, back seven pieces. That I think that definitely helps the Packers, especially in a division where you have to go up against the Lions twice. So those are kind of that's what I came up with. I'm
I
not a
like it.
GM, but I could be a GM. You know what I'm saying?
I play
Just
bad.
I play
Jason and
bad.
I were kind of playing GM earlier before the show started, talking about our blockbuster trade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
true.
impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
So, any other thoughts on the NFL right now? It's like you said, 22 Sundays away. Very sad.
Yeah. We
Very,
got the
very
draft
sad.
coming up though, man. The draft is always exciting.
Favorite day of the year, baby.
Any basketball news? Cavs suck. That's my basketball news. Cavs literally finally get everyone healthy. Now we're falling apart. Like, what are we doing? This is my only NBA talk. All I know is we got absolutely dog walked by the Suns last night,
Mm.
and Evan Mobley's been playing better offensively, but I guess at the cost of us playing any defense at all. Booker dropped 41, KD dropped 32. Like, what are we doing?
It's bad. It's half of the issue is we're kind of set where we are, where the Suns can move around still. I think, right? Because I mean,
We
at
can
max,
definitely still drop. We can still drop 3 or 4 spots.
We can drop into the play-in tournament still.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not
We
that.
won't.
yikes.
We won't, but we could.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about, but what I was trying to say is I think the Suns have more motivation to play.
Yeah.
But
There's also game 3 of a 5-game road trip. So
yeah,
5 games in a road trip. I get you drop one, but man, it's just like the excuse since the All-Star break has been we just haven't been held. We won
healthy. Yeah.
22 of 23 games before the All-Star break. We come back and we literally look like complete dog water because everyone's injured. We don't have a consistent lineup that entire time. Mitchell's out, Mobley's out, Garland's out even for a little bit. Jarrett Allen was out for a short stint of that, and now we have everyone back, and we're worse than we were when we were in our backups. Like,
Yeah.
I just
I think the issue is you find an identity each time someone gets hurt. Like for a while when it was Mitchell, it's like we had a great 3-point shooting, good pick and roll. When Mitchell's in and Garland's in and it's just the starters, we have pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll, pick and roll. And then Mitchell just does his ISO. And then it just keeps changing. It keeps changing and I think that's some of the issue. It's good to be able to be flexible, but to an extent to when you're not consistently doing the same thing, you can't get in these good habits.
what just happened?
We crashed.
Disconnected. Something disconnected.
Are we still up on YouTube?
We are. We're good.
All right.
Well,
Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
the I just wanted to finish. Sorry, I got distracted there. We were talking about the Cavs. Last thing I wanted to say on it, and then of course you guys, if you have extra thoughts on it, but they were. Which this is interesting. The Cavs, I think, are the only team that all three of us are fans of. Is that right? And the Blue Jackets.
Yep.
Blue
Yeah.
Jackets and Cavs. We
Wait.
won't talk about the Blue Jackets.
No, this
Guardians?
season's over.
Guardians?
Yeah, Guardians.
Guardians.
Sure,
Yeah.
baseball is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sport. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really know any baseball. So Guardians are
Me either.
doing good right now, though. They
Very
just
good.
beat somebody 8-0. So anyway,
The Mariners.
Mariners. Yeah,
And I think they just won like 5 minutes ago too. So
sweet. All I was gonna say, finishing thoughts on Cavs, and then we'll end the show here. But I agree with you. We keep changing our offensive identity, which can be it can lead to struggling to score points. But the problem
Right.
that I'm having is we're giving up 120 points a freaking game the last few weeks, and we were supposed to be that we were going. Even just last week, we're the number 3 defense in the NBA. Like that's the part of that's the end of the floor that's bugging me. It's like if you step up on defense, opportunities will present themselves offensively. And guess what? If we lose 101 to 92, like I'm not as mad about that because we'll figure out offense by the time we get to the playoffs when we get some time together. But when you're giving up 122 points to these teams, like it's embarrassing, man.
Which it's also very unlike the Cavs. Last year they were one of
Yeah.
the top defensive teams all year. This year they've been a very very good defensive team. When you have guys like Mobley and Allen inside who can kind of shut down the paint, force teams to shoot it from the perimeter, you
And
should be
Okoro.
able to. Yeah, Okoro's
been hurt.
freak. Yeah.
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 Yeah, they
Yeah.
should be limiting teams, and they're just not playing up to their potential right now. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think the Bulls and the Timberwolves, or no, maybe the Heat because of Jimmy. That would make more sense. There's only a couple teams. The Timberwolves are the number 1 defensive team, but
Mhm. Which
right
makes
after
sense
that,
with
it's
Towns
like
and Gobert as well. It's kind of
Yeah.
the same situation.
yeah. But outside of them, it was like the Cavs were like second, third, fourth all year long. And the last couple weeks, they've just not been. So
Mhm.
I don't know what they have to figure out, but something.
I will say it
But-
is nice that unfortunate, of course you never want to see a guy get injured, but nice that Julius Randle is not coming back this season because it is very likely that we're going to be playing the Knicks in the playoffs again. We got bounced by them last year, so
4-1.
yeah. And,
Yeah,
and
that's
they and it's not like it was close. Like they dominated us.
Yeah.
Dominated
It's
us. Like
embarrassing.
manhandled. So
It was
nice
embarrassing.
nice for the Cavs that he's not coming back if we do happen to play them again.
Well, even with them out, though, I'm still worried. Didn't we lose
same.
them the last time? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, hopefully we figure it out because Jalen Brunson's gonna have a field day if we're not playing any defense.
Oh,
Mhm.
he sure will. He sure will. Well, any final thoughts here before we close her out?
Let us know what you guys think about what we should do for the draft.
Mhm.
Other than that,
Yep.
I'm good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining. We will be back next Thursday. Remember, Thursday, not Wednesday. We're moving to Thursday till, of course, we change it again. But next Thursday at 7 p.m., don't forget to follow us on our social media at Unnamed Sports S. Give us a like, subscribe on YouTube, comment us. Any mean thing you want to say, we will respond. It'll be great. Don't forget to follow us and like us wherever you find your podcast. If you don't listen here on YouTube, it will be posted elsewhere. So again, thanks everyone, and we will catch you guys next time.
Peace out.